Hot dog is my favorite meat.
Piggy goo.
I like hot dogs.
Let's talk about what's in your meat. I do love an expensive sausage.
That's a good point.
Might as well guzzle down some like
Piggy goo.
All right, welcome to the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian with you guys. A day as usual filled with nothing but news. So lots of cuts and lots of action at the White House for better and worse, actually mainly for worse. So yeah, lots of bad news today from the White House. All right, Anna, what do you got for us? All right, back on TYT. Let's go to members. How dare you give me hope? Funny handle, writes in on TYT.com. Quickly sliding back to the level of anxiety I had before my news break. If I keep up to date with the daily news, I'm going to be a wreck. Going to have to figure out how much I can take. Okay, that's an important one. Look, guys, we'll tell you when to panic. And we love doing that. It's in our mission statement. We're gonna look out for you the best way we can. We're gonna give you the news as accurately as we can. The best way we can. We're gonna give you the news as accurately as we can. But don't freak out. Life of Tootie says it's so funny you all say this now. You both played whataboutism the whole election, bought and paid for like the people you bash.
What? You son of a bitch.
Okay, that's hilarious and totally and utterly wrong. And anyone who watches this show knows that we did Trump madness of all of his lies. We did loser Don. We've done everything in the world to make sure Trump didn't win. But a lot of idiots on the Democratic side thought Joe Biden was our best candidate. And then Kamala Harris. We'll be back.
These billionaires, they need to be down.
Violence is self-defeating.
They need to be down. You know, like rabid dogs. They're like rabid with greed.
That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Bill Burr made monocles fly this week.
Activist, yes. Activist, yes.
With his comments on billionaires on his podcast. So, Burr 2028.
Okay, so I'm gonna be, what is this, stick in the mud?
This is the voice of reason.
Yeah. So I know he's a comic and I love Bill Burr, but don't say put down anyone.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, someone finally said it.
Okay, so billionaires need to be put down like rabid dogs. Don't. Okay, I know I'm the bad guy. Boo, he's funny and stuff. I get it. Boo. But at the same time, if you're in the establishment and you're these billionaires, when you got one of the top comics in the country who is beloved.
What?
Talking about putting all of you down and the crowd goes nuts, you might want to check yourself a little bit. Like you guys are out of control. They don't realize how much they're abusing the American people. They don't realize how much they're abusing the American people. When you got one of the top comics in the country who is beloved, talking about putting all of you down, and the crowd goes nuts, you might want to check yourself a little bit. Like you guys are out of control. They don't realize how much they're abusing the American people. They don't realize how much they're abusing the American people. You might want to check yourself a little bit. Of course.
They're trying to cancel Bill Burr. I did a video about this on Rebel HQ. I think it's called "Right Wingers Try to Cancel Bill Burr and Humiliate Themselves Instead." Like Elon Musk is their God King. And Elon Musk said, comedy is dead because the left killed it. And the minute Bill Burr says something, they want to cancel Bill Burr. They gave away the game. They are annoying now. They're the annoying ones now. Like we were the annoying ones on the left for a second because we were like, you said that word wrong. We were annoying, I get it. But now they're the annoying ones because he said a joke that got in your fifis.
Got in your fifis? Don't.
You're not funny anymore. You're the annoying one who's like, you can't tell a joke anymore because you went against my political philosophy.
Who cares? So like he apparently defended the LA response or whatever. I think Karen Bass sucks. I think her response was awful. So I don't agree with Bill Burr. So what? Who cares? Bill Burr's a comic. Let him say whatever the hell he wants. What are you getting, catching feelings over that? And now that's a political, like, so, like, are you crazy?
Like we were the annoying ones on the left for a second because we were like, you said that word wrong. We were annoying. I get it.
So what? So Bill Burr, Jon Stewart, Bill Burr, 2028. Don't.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yes, he's a comedian. You still don't want to encourage it, but like, feels like one of those situations that wouldn't necessarily be sad.
No, don't do it. Don't do it, man.
I would struggle to find any empathy.
Like you're an extremist, Jordan. We know that you're an extremist, and honestly, I'm glad we entrapped you into admitting it because the police will be seeing you out soon.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Okay, so obviously, the billionaires are gonna have an issue with the put down like a rabid dog thing. I don't know exactly how you get through. I think that Bill Burr is definitely, that's one good way to hopefully get through to some of them, but we need to hear a lot more of that. Anyway, appreciate Bill Burr's comments there.
Completely agree. The problem is a large portion of MAGA do not care to pay heed to the alarm bells that have been sounded and continue going off. Look, it takes two to tango here. My question would be this: what is your best course of action in reaching them? There are ways, but I'm open to Burr's.
But I'm open to Burr's.
So, Crystal, in my experience, exactly what he's saying and how he's sounding, this is what I'm seeing with a whole bunch of liberals, with the majority of liberals. Stuff that you couldn't imagine like 5 years ago, them saying.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta put these billionaires down like rabid dogs.
Yeah, and they're like, yes.
Never would have thought, a liberal would have said that 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Now I'm seeing Luigi posting from standard ass resistance liberals. So something's happening.
Something's
happening where people are waking up.
Balance makes balance.
We now join our regularly scheduled program, already in progress.
I don't think we should kill people. Like, I'm against killing people, and that goes for assassins and insurance companies.
See, someone around here is sane.
Yeah, no, under no circumstances, violence is never the right answer. But he's a comic, he's joking.
You guys are so tiresome.
Okay, so I'm not gonna cancel him over jokes. I like that we're the cool ones again. It happens for a second. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can keep it. I like that we're the cool ones again. I like that we're the cool ones again.
That got in your fifis.
So what?
That got in your fifis.
Wouldn't necessarily be sad.
What are you getting, catching feelings over that? I like that we're the cool ones again. I like that we're the cool ones again. For a second, let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can keep it. Casey Higgis is at least funny. I'm worried the price of cocaine is going to go up. First eggs and now this.
Cocaine isn't cheap. It's expensive.
So Casey, that's funny. Target says, who's ready for 2028 when Gavin Newsom gets anointed into being the Democratic candidate for president? Not if we have something to do with it. And you want to talk about a civil war, then you'll have a real civil war. And they will certainly try. Yeah, I'm out of time. We'll be back. So what?
This record is in honor of George Floyd. And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
Elections, they come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Elon Musk is sucking all the air out of the room today due to that gesture that he made. Now the big question, did Musk intend on doing a Nazi salute? Because that's what it appeared to be. Or is he just an awkward guy who's on the spectrum and didn't realize that as he was expressing himself and his excitement, he came across as someone doing the Nazi salute. Now, before we adjudicate this, or is he just an awkward guy who's on the spectrum? Now, when he does it, he says something along the lines of, he is on the spectrum, which provides some plausible deniability. And look, the first time I saw the video, he is on the spectrum and he does express himself physically in awkward ways at times, so I didn't know for sure what was going on. But after watching the video a few times, watching the other angle, I think your theory is the correct theory, Jake. Just an awkward guy who's on the spectrum, which he is on the spectrum. Just an awkward guy who's on the spectrum, which he is on the spectrum. He is on the spectrum. So I want to go to you.
So he's a troller in chief, and that was definitely a Nazi salute, in my opinion. And is it because he's an actual Nazi? Probably not. I hope not. But now it's slightly in question. But the main thing is he loves getting the attention, and he knows that the wilder and the crazier thing he does, the more attention he's going to get. And he's right. Look at all the attention he's gotten. And if you notice on the second one, in the first one, he put it on his heart and then did this sign. And that's his plausible deniability. What? I was just saying from my heart, right? But look at on the second one, he forgets to put it on his heart, and he just said Kyle. Then he puts it on his heart.
No, he does it in the beginning too, in the second time.
No, he run it again. I didn't see that.
Okay, watch carefully, because he does.
Because I think he puts it on his heart afterwards.
He does
because
afterwards.
He forgot to put it on his heart the first time around.
Okay, let's play.
I think, but let's take a look.
Are there people like? Is there a crowd? See, he puts it.
No, I don't. All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You guys all saw it. He went. I don't think he put it on his heart. That's why he did it afterwards. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What matters is
he is on the spectrum.
The way he did it. It wasn't I just raised my hand and I waved. He did a salute. So, anyways,
he is on the spectrum.
But my sense of it is he did it on purpose. That's not an accident. It wasn't, oh golly gee, I just happened to do the identical Nazi salute and with a very sharp, crisp, extending of the elbow, right?
Twice, yeah.
Twice, get out of here. And yeah, let's cross our fingers and hope he's just trolling.
Or is he just an awkward guy who's on the spectrum?
Okay. All right, back on TYT. Cenk and Anna, and I'm going to read one comment from TYT.com viewers and members. America needs a reboot. Said, did Bibi give Trump a golden shower too?
It's concerning. So guys, stop using dehumanizing language against anyone else on whichever side you think is the opposite of you, right? We've got to stop calling each other insects, bugs, parasites.
Oh my God. Okay, all right.
That's next, probably in public. And so and Trump will be like, no, it's okay. It's okay, I'm an alpha.
Are you okay, Mr. Netanyahu? Are you okay? Did I do well, Mr. Netanyahu? So guys, stop using dehumanizing language against anyone else.
Anyways, all right, go ahead.
I get the insult and it's fine, but it forces me to visualize it, and I don't want to visualize that. So
yeah, I hear you.
But anyway, let's get to the news. Oh, God.
All right, back on TYT, Cenk, Uger, and Jordan Uhl with you guys. So yesterday, Anna and I did a segment like this where we're talking about the direction of TYT, etc. Jordan's a radical. Okay, total extremist. So we're gonna have a conversation with one of these loons.
Okay, you're off to a great start.
Just play it, I'll play. So Jordan is to the left of me on some issues, whatever the left means in that context, but that's what we're gonna talk about. And he's gonna ask me a bunch of questions. I'm gonna try to read some of your comments that came in today and yesterday. We saved some of your comments from yesterday. I wish I could get to more, but I wanna start with one comment that just came in because I thought it was really interesting. I wish a dragon would wrote in.
I wish a Karen would.
As we all know, Karen absolutely is a derogatory term. Are we really gonna pretend like it's not?
Message. Your favorite former hate watcher here. I wanted to chime in again regarding addressing your critics from the left. We need folks like you and Anna and Jordan, Jackson, everyone who can build toward finding common ground to hold the establishment accountable. Be that voice for those of us that are too angry to do it sometimes. So that's a beautiful, beautiful comment.
Message.
So you make a really good point. And guys, remember, I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm.
First of all, as a man whose family is Muslim, and I'm atheist now. Now, the audacity of Karens. Audacity of Karens.
And I've been threatened many, many times. I know what it feels like to be threatened. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim. I'm.
First of all, I'm atheist now.
I'm Muslim.
I'm atheist now.
That it's hard to get past that. So I get it, right?
The audacity of Karens.
I'm Muslim, but you're right that it's my job to get past it so that we can get to what I think and hope is the best strategy. So thank you for writing in. So many more. I love it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the criticism that you and Anna and the network overall have gotten, it to some extent has been you guys going on right-wing shows. Mm-hmm. There have been other people who have been critical of how you've talked about which policy is the right policy on issues like policing.
Crime is not a crime.
What? And then there have been people who have been upset with how you two have covered the trans issue. Do you think that it's fair for people who have these criticisms of your policy stances and then also see you going on right-wing networks? Do you think it's, I think that there are well-meaning folks who see all of those things and think, well, they're clearly tacking to the right, because we have seen people do that in the past.
So look, guys, if you say, I see that you guys had some, what I think is small disagreements, but maybe you think it's big disagreements on the trans stuff, it was so minor. It's just about like professional leagues and being called a woman, but okay, but you can think it's major. On crime, it's a little bit more significant.
Very nice. You're learning.
There's a lot of folks like someone who wrote in earlier thinking it's just a crime panic and you're going for a right-wing narrative, etc.
Crime is not a crime.
It's not. We showed you the statistics, but that's okay. It's a normal disagreement. We want disagreement here. It's okay. So what's the difference between a normal disagreement and the kind of weirdo fights that have broken out online? Because some people aren't trying to have a conversation where we get to the right answer. Hey, what should be the right policy on crime? They're trying to attract attention, and that's why I'm saying bad faith, by not only saying that what we're saying is not acceptable, like, well, who determines what's acceptable? Why do you get to determine it, right? But on top of that, they're saying, well, then we know that they're already right-wingers and we know they're gonna do X, Y, and Z, but did we? So when I go on the right-wing shows, do I go, oh my God, I love corporate tax cuts now? If I do, you should throw me all the way under a bus, right? No, I tell them the same thing that I tell you guys, right? So I defend Social Security. I got Tim Pool's show to go, oh, paid family leave, maybe. When you seem to excuse it with your nuance, then they go, yes!
I don't care what
finally somebody's sticking up for white people killing black people. I mean, he went to go shoot black people. Patrick Bet-David polled his audience, 75% of his audience said yes to paid family leave. Which other person went on a right-wing show and got 75% of their audience to agree to a progressive position? So if you say, no, don't, still, no, I don't want you talking to them, I hate it. Okay, again, we disagree. The guys that I loathe the most are like the Muslim, I'm Muslim guys who are the reformers. They're actually reformers in Islam. By the way, I'm Muslim and I'm atheist, right? So like, I'm Muslim. I'm totally open to that reform conversation, right? And I'm Muslim.
Oh, well, I'll tell you the real problem, Bill.
Because they're always talking to Bill Maher, is
the Muslim culture is a real problem. It's it's a lot of violence. Oh my God, have your Quran is the worst.
We're not doing any of that and going, okay, let's just hate them. And how is hating them an effective strategy? And no one's ever explained that, by the way. We're not doing any of that because they're always talking to Bill Maher. They say, oh no, we think you're going to be a right winger. In fact, they don't say that. They say they are right wingers. They are, right? And so Jordan and I said this yesterday, like, proof's always in the pudding, right? So if we turn right wing, okay, then they were right and you guys go watch Silly and Billy. And they're so obviously goofy. Silly and Billy, when they're like, oh dude, we know, man, right? But if it turns out they were wrong, I hope that you hold them accountable and go, hey, you guys told me they were already right wingers, but I watched. And it looks like they're not right wing at all when they're like, oh, dude, we know, man, right? Go watch Silly and Billy. And if there is no disagreement within a party, you're not in a party. You're in an authoritarian cult.
But Cenk's not off the hook yet. So I think the way you talk about, because the way you talk about this sometimes I think is damaging and undercuts what you're trying to do. You have used the term extreme left to describe a broad swath of people in policy conversations. And I think a lot of well-meaning people who might identify with some of those policy conversations might think like, what? I'm not extreme.
Totally disagree. So first of all, when you have an extreme position, idiots. It's all right, I can't stand it. And it doesn't help trans people at all to have these extreme positions. Oh yeah, don't test anyone, just take their word for it. I think it's terrible politics.
It's not an extreme position, it comes from a position of human rights, and it does help all
It's not a human right to compete in the other genders
What you see
sport.
there is-
Okay, whatever, I'm happy to debate anybody about it. I don't agree, and you're never gonna get me to agree by saying it's
the left-wing position, it's the pro-trans position.
I don't think it's a pro-trans position at all.
You should just offer a platform,
Okay,
you don't have to agree.
All right, so when your opponent is in the middle of doing something radical, step out of the way and let them do it instead of stepping in the way and saying, hey, I'm more radical. Okay, I think it's terrible politics. It's terrible for trans people. I think it's terrible for the LGBTQ community, and I think it's terrible for the people who are looking to defeat Trump. So can we please get out of the way and let the Republicans do the dumb things? Idiots!
So mad. So mad.
So I think that can be unhelpful when you're talking about people who are probably ultimately 99% of the time on your side and might just have questions about what you're doing. So I'm wondering if that is the best way to go about talking about some of these policies.
Okay, so you're fired.
Okay, so you're fired. You're fired.
No, seriously, you're fired. First, look, there's two different things, right? There is positions that are further left, however you define that, than me, and we've got to find a term for it that is not offensive.
Do we need a term for it?
We do.
Why?
So okay, let me handle that first, and then we'll get back to the term. So why do we need it? I think we need it for A, clarity, and B, political reasons. Some of you might totally disagree here, but when you say progressive now, people think defund the police, abolish ICE, free trans surgeries for undocumented detainees, etc. And I know that the right wing focused on the most unpopular positions we have on purpose, but my point was, but don't help them by falling into that trap and saying, okay, now that's it. The progressive banner is undocumented detainees all get free surgeries, hip surgeries, trans surgeries, whatever it might be. And I don't happen to agree with them. I'm with, so you want to call me a more moderate on that? No problem, no problem. If you say, Jake, you're not the most left, you're right. So now if you call yourself a moderate, people are like, okay. But there are people who are actually closer to the center, right? So am I center left? Hell yeah, I'm on the left. There's no, but am I as far as some others? No, I'm not. But if we get defined as the positions that are the most unpopular, we cannot win.
True.
So I need to define us in a different light now. Otherwise, the baby's gonna get thrown out with the bathwater. And besides which, I don't agree. Then people are gonna go, oh, okay, so you agree to all these positions. No, I don't agree to, I don't agree to those positions. So Jordan, the question I wanted to ask back is, what's the best term to use? Let's pick a word that makes sense.
I don't know.
No, because the guys who are making those, the bad faith arguments, they are radicals. They're saying, if you don't agree with me 100%, you shouldn't even be allowed to talk. You shouldn't be allowed to have that freaking opinion, and you're definitely a right winger. And you're racist, and all these other things. That's so extreme and radical as a way of conducting yourself. Okay?
I also don't want to discount. Then there are people who were angry.
Yeah.
Let's take the trans issue. I think that's one where like you and I definitely don't agree, right? I think there's like I know there's like the core rights. I think you're on board with. I would hope so.
Yeah, 100%.
But the gender affirming care for undocumented people, it's like a buzzword of all these things that are just designed to trigger like the independent or moderate or Republican voter. I don't care about that. It's just like, and I think if you're going to go out at a time where it's going to get even worse for trans people, I think a lot of people are concerned and wondering why even talk about things like this that aren't even really up for debate right now, because it could just play into the right's hand.
So, but guys, so like when I go on the right wing shows, Jordan, hey, listen, guys, I agree with you on the professional sports, right? And then they go,
oh, okay, good, right?
And so some people might hate that. Then I go, but you guys agree that trans should have same constitutional rights as any American, right? To employment, to healthcare, to housing, and they go,
oh yeah, of course, constitutional rights.
And so some people might hate that. So you get tons of right-wing hosts have now said, because of those conversations.
Well, of course, constitutional rights. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which other left-wing hosts got a bunch of right-wing hosts to say, yeah, of course, trans constitutional rights, right? So, look, guys, if that's too if you think that's not left-wing enough, do you get, Jordan, that we're like that is the most benign disagreement there is?
I think the point is like on the issues where you do break from them. What's the utility in
the utility,
that?
Good question. Listen, brother, you come into this country undocumented. I want to protect your rights. I want to make sure you get an asylum hearing, etc. Okay? But you can't come into this country and then you demand surgery. No, I don't care if it's any kind of surgery.
It's not a common problem.
I'm not throwing my policy positions under a bus for electoral convenience because those are not my policy positions. I agree with the majority of the American people on those ones that are really far left, okay, whatever term we want to use. They're not core constitutional rights, okay? But if you say, no, I but if you say, I don't even want to get into the labels. Oh my God, the labels. Like, because like, guys, you have no idea. So, look, Jordan, let me put it this way on this quick tangent here. That legendary Anna tweet, that legendary Anna tweet of like, hey, I want to be called a woman instead of a birthing person. First of all, I have seen birthing person. I have seen at the doctor's office. They started saying, I have seen instead of women, birthing person. So that tweet, when you show it to any non-far leftist or anyone on the left, because like I know I'm on the left, I'm not far left, but I know that that could trigger some people, right? But if you're not in that category, for 98% of Americans, they're like, I don't understand what's wrong with. She just like to be called a woman. Like, if you don't get that seems enormously obvious. You might be in a bubble. You see what I'm saying? You're in this bubble, and you think like, no, everybody's, like this is an outrage. That is not an outrage. And so if you don't get that that's not an outrage, you're gonna lose all the elections. You're gonna lose all the elections. She just like to be called a woman. You're in this bubble. How do you not see it? But we shouldn't call women in general birthing people, because that's.
I'm sorry, but I want to say that's crazy. That's crazy. Crazy. That's everyone thinks it's crazy, right? How do you not see it?
But if you say, you're gonna lose all the elections. You're gonna lose them all, right? She just like to be called a woman. But we shouldn't call women in general birthing people, because that's. I'm sorry, but I want to say that's crazy. That's what everyone thinks, because that's. I'm sorry, but I want to say that's crazy. That's what everyone thinks is crazy, right? How do you not see it? That's crazy. Because if you're gonna hurt the movement, you've got a responsibility to say, yeah, that's my position. I'll fight for it on another day. But let's not sink the entire ship, because I don't want 98% of my positions. I want 100% of my positions.
I think it's unfair to characterize people who maybe you see it as a fringe issue. They're fighting for it because that's what they believe in. I don't think that makes them crazy.
No, and that's right. Jordan, you fight for it. I don't think you're crazy at all. But when you say, no, you're not allowed to disagree with me, that makes you a right winger, that's crazy. That's true.
So I think you're talking about labels. And a lot of people have looked at TYT as the home of the progressives, right? Mm-hmm. And you're now saying, well, maybe I'm like over here on some of these issues now. Maybe I don't know where I fit. So do you think that also feeds into?
But not now, Jordan.
What do you mean?
I've never, like when defund the police came out, I said that's a terrible slogan, right? I didn't wait till later, right? When Latinx came out, I said that's a terrible word. So like, don't do that, it's not helpful. I've had the courage of those convictions all throughout, so those things didn't change.
Look, we're not gonna agree, and that's the, I also.
You're fired. Okay.
I just wanted Democrats to take issues seriously during the Biden. Look, I've given up on Democrats actually looking out for the working class. I have, okay? I just wanted them to take the issue of crime seriously.
Crime is not a crime.
What?
I wanted them to make a distinction between violent, undocumented criminals in the country.
So like, don't do that, it's not helpful.
To ensure that we wouldn't see the day where you have mass deportations like what we have right now. Like, it's just so frustrating, Cenk, because who are we supposed to support? You tell them, hey, my community is unsafe. Can you please do something about this? And they use, activist groups to provide cover for their inaction because they don't want to do anything. They don't want to take action. They don't want to represent you. They don't want to look out for you. So I am not surprised you have a bunch of moderates who turned on the Democratic Party, ended up voting for Donald Trump. That's how he got the popular vote. It's just frustrating, man. It's frustrating. And like this strategy of denial and gaslighting American voters didn't work out so well for Democrats, but you still, till this day, see activist groups aiding and abetting that garbage.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. No, it's not happening. The Venezuelan gang story was totally made up.
Cenk and Anna just called you out for not knowing shit about the Aurora gang buildings.
It wasn't made up.
I do routinely get called out seemingly by people who ascribe to a lot of
right-wing values.
Don't do that. It's not helpful.
But this incident has sparked a big debate and I believe some gaslighting about whether or not there is a problem with Venezuelan migrant gangs.
It's because I'm secretly being paid by the Venezuelan gangs.
So, guys, I don't know what the dispute's about. So the left wing is saying what? That they didn't take over the apartment buildings. They're there. They're obviously there. There's no question that they're there.
But like I said, this is a scary fucking thing that's going on. And no, I don't mean it's scary that like Venezuelan gangs have overtaken an apartment complex. I'm saying it's scary that people believe it.
What? I don't know why people are surprised that gangs do extortion. Of course they do, right?
It's sad to see people grifting to the right. For the record, APD has confirmed there's no apartment takeover in Aurora. There are gangs in the Denver metro area, and APD has long been a part of regional task force on gang activities, quit feeding hysteria, and giving slumlords cover.
So which one is it? Is there a problem with Venezuelan gang violence in the area or isn't there? Let me read that one more time so people can hear it loud and clear. The interim police chief said that the residents making complaints about the gang's activity have largely been migrants who live in the buildings. Why are we allowing them to be victimized by this? This is ridiculous.
Think about how much work it takes to uncover the truth in a story like this versus how little it takes to lie, especially when you have a willing media apparatus to funnel all this fucking false information through. That's how you arrive at a guy like Cenk, who's otherwise a very kind person, very smart person, very progressive person, who is just like, nope, I don't believe you. I 100% believe that Venezuelan gangs have overtaken CBC management properties. Fuck me.
And left-wingers, I just don't get it. I don't get it. If you're pushing back against the demagoguing of immigrants, I just did that. That's how you do that, okay? But if you say, in order to push back against that, I'm just gonna pretend that no immigrant has ever committed a crime and that those gangs aren't here and they haven't taken over anything, you sound ridiculous. The majority of the left wing is perfectly reasonable on this.
Are they? You and I might have a disagreement here, Cenk.
Yeah, we have a massive disagreement. You give those tiny little leftist streamers way too much
They're
credit.
not tiny little leftist streamers. Cenk, Hassan called the city council member racist for helping this woman move out of that. But like that's not a small streamer. That's a huge streamer.
Right-wing values.
So if you're saying, oh well, Hassan or some other leftist streamer is big, so that counts. Well, TYT network is much, much larger. So okay, we win. We represent the left. So we definitely represent the left more than any streamer, no matter how popular they are, pretending to speak for the left, never showing any polling, never showing any facts, never showing anything about how they represent left-wing voters in this country. The great majority of left-wing voters are, of course, normal, real Americans who don't want crime. That's so obvious. Only the craziest leftist streamers are like, oh, there's no crime, there's no crime, there's no crime at all, there's no crime. If you ever mention crime, oh, you're a right-winger, you're a right-winger.
Right-wing values.
It's ludicrous. You show the bullet holes, you show the guys taking over the apartment buildings, you show the residents, you show a giant report about how they have in fact taken over apartments and done extortion, etc. And they're like, no. There's never any crime and crime is awesome and there's nothing wrong with crime and you guys shouldn't be worried about it.
Crime is not a crime.
What? 98% of left-wing voters do not want Venezuelan criminal gangs or American criminal gangs taking over the apartments of working class people who are just trying to survive in this country.
That's how you arrive at a guy like Cenk, who's otherwise a very kind person, very smart person, very progressive person, who is just like, nope, I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the voters either. I think it's people with microphones.
It's because I'm secretly being paid by the Venezuelan gangs.
It's not, it doesn't exist. No, it's not happening. The Venezuelan gang story was totally made up. Literally dozens of gang members from one apartment building got arrested. How many gang members do you need to take over an apartment building? Please explain it to me.
I know. Look, people aren't going to listen. We showed like 12 different news reports. They don't want to listen.
That's how you arrive at a guy like Cenk.
So look, the problem with Democrats is endless because I don't believe them. Like, first of all, they're not even saying anything. There was one guy who wasn't mentally challenged in the Democratic Party. They would come out and fight for super popular things. They can't even do that. They can't even do the bare minimum. Like, oh, something that would help the voters. Oh, something that would help the voters. Right? But even if they did say it, I wouldn't believe them anyway, because they never do it. I mean, look at all the action Trump's taking. I hate 80% of it. But he's taking action like crazy. He's a tornado. He's a crazy tornado. Like, oh, something that would help the voters. No, nothing we can do. Next, all right. Anyway, you guys get it. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Always We've been battling and fighting for so long. I don't expect you to wake up and go, oh, okay, hey, MAGA, let's hug, right? Okay, hey, MAGA, let's hug, right? I don't expect you to wake up and go, oh, okay, hey, MAGA, let's hug, right? I'm just saying the correct strategy is when they agree, say yes. So let's encourage the positive side while battling the things we don't agree with. I just think that's so obviously logical, but I know that some folks are not ready for it, and I get it. Okay, Anna.
Out Benny, to mix this up, mash this up, out Benny, mash this up in his TYT mashups, which are very entertaining, and I highly recommend you watch it. Out Benny.
Like, oh, something that would help the voters. Ugh, yeah.